All right, first things first. Early access is coming out August 5th of this year. So that's like in like 6-7 weeks, something like that. It's a Thursday if you care. So this is it's just like the release. So if you had pre-ordered a copy previously, the $15, then you get to play on that day, and then it'll be on Steam and also GOG and another platform. And I don't remember if I can say, so I won't, I guess. I don't know. Boom. Anyway, so August 5th, tell your friends, do that sort of stuff. That's cool. I guess if you want a quick spiel on what early access would look like. So we're pretty much just going to keep working on Starmancer for a long time until probably long after it's like responsible to keep working on it. So we'll just keep adding stuff because that's sort of what we do. We're trying to make a fun game. That's the important part to us. So I don't know. That's what we'll do. Again, I don't know. Like we're a 2-person team, so like sometimes things can take a long time, but we do our best. So we're adding stuff. And I put this in the post, and this is kind of cheesy. I mean, like it's real, but it's sort of, I don't know, it comes off as cheesy. But, really the important thing to us is like there's a person out there who's having a bad day. And the hope is that they can play our game and their day is slightly less bad. I think that's the important thing to focus on. So it's a game, and games are supposed to be fun. And that is our mentality. It's our mindset when we're doing things, is we just want to, do the best that we can and make this as fun as it can possibly be to the target audience, which is who knows what that is. People like us, I guess. But anyway. Oh, by the way, we recently switched to ClickUp. This is very boring, so you can read more about this in the post. But I'll just kind of skip this, skip over this necessary stuff, and just get right into the exciting stuff, which is the new stuff we've done since I last made a blog post. So the most important, probably the biggest thing for sure, is that we added this context menu, and there's a lot of problems in a game like Starmancer where you just have indirect control of people. So for instance, let's say you have an ore refinery right over here. Okay, so you have a nice ore refinery. And let's say you even have ore right here. Okay, and you can see it. You're like, what doesn't have power? Let's even go like even more one step real. So let's say you have this. And you're like, okay, I can clearly see that there's a colonist here just doing nothing. He's just wandering around aimlessly. And this thing, it's waiting for a colonist. What am I supposed to do? So what we added is a context menu. So you click the colonist. You click this button here that will eventually get changed to some other button. And then it highlights all the areas that the colonist can go to. And if you click on like a floor, for instance, you can make a colonist go there. So I'll make him go there, and it's queued up here as well. And then you can also make him, let's say, generate power. This, by the way, is the inspect. Okay, so generate power. And now it's queued up. If you want him to stop, you could, and just cancel that. Then he'll just immediately go generate power. So he's doing that. This is maybe not that boring, So see, look, now he's doing stuff. And then there's a lot of other context actions as well. So you could make a colonist fight each other. You could do some sort of weird fight club thing. I'm going to let him sort of do a thing for one quick second. But you could make him fight Harknap and sort of see who wins. And you could also make Harknap. I don't know what's going to happen here. I want to fight you, dude. But what's going to happen? Okay, I didn't know what happened, by the way, because since I ordered him, I didn't know if the fight, like when the first guy punched, if it would override his action to fight, because I think it would. I don't know what, actually that's interesting. I don't know what happens there. Like, would he keep doing his Q or would he turn and fight? And here they are just duking it out, having a good old time. And now poor Beth has been bludgeoned. Okay, so with the cool thing, I got to stop saying the cool thing, so. Basically, everything in the game can now be context interactable. So if I click on this guy right here, Beth Carr, I can extract his head for recycling purposes because, I could return it to the core, and then I could regrow him. So now I have his head. If I mouse over this guy, see he's got a head. He's got this head, and it happens to be that dude's head, whatever his name was. Okay, but because it's an item, we can do lots of item things with it. So, by the way, I chose to demonstrate this on a colonist head, both because it's funny, but also because it's sort of more pragmatic here in a quick second. So let's just add all, just so that warning goes away. Because this way I was able to spawn in an item without having to go into like a debug menu. So if I were to click on this shelf, I now have this option to transfer items. So I could transfer this head. I have a slider for the amount. So I can drop this little head in the jar. I could store it here if I wanted to for whatever reason. What did he just do? Did he just pick it back up? I think he did. I bet like it queued it for offload. And he's like, I'll take that head. Or he just didn't feel like taking the head. I don't know, weird. And I'll drop the head. You're going to drop the head. And I'll make you go here immediately, bro. See, he dropped it. Let's just do this real quick one more time. Pick that head up. Transfer it. Whatever. Okay. I wonder if it's because you can't store heads on shelves. You know, I really should have tested this before I did it, huh? But I didn't. So this is what you get. You're getting a lie, bro. Can I put it on a floor? Huh, but not a shelf. Interesting. So some sort of little bug. Look at that. Well, that's how you know it's live. This is just me. Okay. Cool. Anyway, so you can do that. You can go back and pick it up again. Generic room. I'm going to transfer the head. You can do lots of weird things with it. You can sort. I know for sure you can put it in a toilet because I've done that. Not on. Well, it was on purpose. Let me just make sure. I'm going to put this guy. Oh, morale's too low. Now I have to actually cheat. Thanks, guy. Thanks, because you keep seeing a dead body and it makes him sad. I'll just cheat. I'll give him some morale real quick. And I'll raise this a bunch. I could have made a new guy as well. There now his morale should be a little bit higher, and I think I have to close the menu. So, but you can do whatever. You could, you can make him relieve his bowels. You could make him poop over here as well. You can make him clean the blood. Let me try to click on some blood. Remove oopsie evidence. So you make him clean the blood now. They couldn't do that before. You can also make him eat a stored item. What's this button? What's that? Oh, I see. That was because multiple things were selected. Interesting. I could also make him eat a stored item. So if I wanted to, I could make him eat this head. But not just heads. Again, this is just because it was easy to demonstrate with heads and also because it's funny. But the same system is used for anything. So for medicines now, you can make a colonist pick up medicine and eat them or store it for later. You can make them eat food. You could make them drink alcohol. You can do really whatever you want to do. So it's actually pretty fun. And then for the future, what we want to do is add things like weapons. We'd like to add the ability to maybe comfort a colonist. So if a colonist is sad, maybe another colonist can hug them or talk to them or cheer them up. Maybe dancing, hiding in things like lockers. Maybe we just extend this to the turret and you could just change, like, so you click on the turret and the turret could maybe target specific people. Maybe a colonist could study a skill. We might even add like some sort of like service helper bots that maybe the player has to control. And with this too, something we can finally do is we can add an avatar if we wanted to. We could add an avatar that the player can physically control, which is interesting. Because on the back end, there's a lot of systems that have to sort of work. Like, so for instance, to be able to drop metal off here, you have to have a system in place where your colonists don't automatically drop off the metal that they were going to have dropped off. And I'm sure that there's edge cases that don't work. Right. But now that the player can directly control things and now a lot of the back end's done, it becomes really painless to add a lot of the stuff. Oh, and also you can't order colonists if their morale's low or if they're dead and sort of those basic things. So, yippity-doo-dah. All right. Yippee. Okay, we also added an overlays. So moving on from context. Context is cool. It's like Sims style context menus. We also added overlays, which are here, and the art is still sort of placeholder. But if you turn them on, what it'll do is it'll show the oxygen. And because I'm being a cheater, it's hard to show. So what I'll do, this guy might suffocate, but that's all right. I mean, not for him, but like it's all right for our purposes. So what I can do is I'll make this bigger room. I'm going to put the Starmancer core in the center of it because the Starmancer core generates oxygen. So see how it's red? Oh, no, those guys are not going to survive. That's okay. Sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. Buddies. This thing's going to start pumping out oxygen. You can actually see it. So see how it's kind of turning not as dark? This, by the way, there's like a bar across the screen. That always happens the first time that we run a new Unity project and it goes away. So don't like do that. So, well, they're not going to live for much longer. And this is spreading out. Anyway, so we added overlays for other stuff too. You can cancel this overlay, see? So this is sort of what it looks like. But there's other overlays as well. So for heat, and right now what this means is they're all sort of okay. Beauty. So this is apparently a very ugly room, probably because of the toilets and the blood and all this other stuff. Noise. So if things are generating noise, and also germs, and there's probably no germs right now on account of no one's sort of alive. And to kind of demonstrate the heat overlay, what I'll do is I'll put some thermal exchangers on these external walls. And what this should do is cool off the room maybe fast. I'm not sure. Because see, this oxygen here is pumping out, or this core is pumping out oxygen at like 21 degrees Celsius. And I'm sure it's not full of oxygen yet. So see, so here it is. And now you can sort of see that the room's getting colder and colder as time goes on. So, and then just to do one more quick demonstration. Here, if I were to press this, what you'll see is this big atmosphere leak that's sort of coming in. So, overlays, neat, yummy, woohoo. Okay, ooh, a big change. Actually, I'm excited about that. But okay, but a big change too is we added supply caches to the start of the game. So now you start with items. So you start with, I think right now what we're starting you with is water, space rations, which is just a type of food that isn't disgusting, alcohol because it's funny, medicine to heal your colonists, maybe fuel, and I believe kinetic bullets for the sentry gun. And the intent here is that the player is starting with all the stuff that they need. And when you first start, you have like this surplus of items, and then you're slowly draining your resources and you're trying to get production up and running before you run out. And also, this allows us to make things slightly more punishing as well. So, right now, in the previous patch, eating, let's say, biomass, I don't think it had a negative memory. It might have if you were a high enough ego level. But part of why it couldn't was because it was the very first thing the player was unlock. And so, if the very first thing you feed your colonists turns them crazy because they hate the taste so much of it, it's just not fun because you don't know what's happening in your dudes. So now, because we're starting you with yummy, yummy space rations, biomass can once again drive people into homicidal rages. It doesn't have to, and it probably won't, but it still could a little bit more. Anyway, those are supply caches. You can you can lock them if you don't want your colonists getting into them, and as soon as they're offloaded, they get removed. So you can't. You can also move them, by the way. So if you don't like the starting location for them, you can just move them to a different room. Ooh, we added a lighting system. I think you sort of briefly could see it here when I turn off this overlay. So the lighting system is nice. Lighting's fun. So what we added are some lights here. So if I add this light right here, and then it's going to need a battery. I'm sorry I said it like that. It's going to need a battery. All right. So now it's producing light. And what's doing here is it turned off because this colonist is going to die. I'm going to turn on a cheat real quick. So colonists, once again, don't die. Is atmosphere force livable? Let's set that bad boy to true. Let's go to maximize. And then I'm going to spawn a guy so he doesn't die. Then the lights will turn back on. So you kind of see here's a light. They have a range. It's very like sort of tile based. So it sort of reminds me of like Minecraft's light system, maybe slightly or something. So see, it's kind of emitting. We don't know the range yet that we want these things to have. It can be sort of hard. So it's like this range just seems far, but is it? Do we want the player to have to place lights everywhere or not? We placed a few lights too. There's like square lights, and then there's these standing lights, and then there's also wall lights. And then we have a basic shadow, like not shadow necessarily, but some sort of system. So if I place this wall here, see it's now obscuring this. And it's very basic, but what this does is essentially the light just sort of does a ray cast, an overlap sphere or something for all the floors around it. Then it iterates on each floor and checks, hey, are you in, well, we'll check if you're in range, but it might do that anyway. But it checks, hey, do I have line of sight? And the way it determines line of sight is it takes each corner, and for each corner that has line of sight, it increases the intensity by 25%. So if all four corners are visible, it's going to be fully lit, and then also distance matters as well. And then you can see some drop-offs. If I were to use sterile floor, it might actually show up better. Is that oh, I forgot this is a thing. There. So I kind of use sterile floor because it's all white. So it's a little bit, I think, a little bit easier to sort of see, because if you take white and make it red, it's going to be like more easy to see the red than if you took out a non-red thing. So there's that. Yippity-doo, little basic shadows. I mean, they're okay. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do in Starmancer, so I like really had time to make like a very complicated lighting system. So it's, you know, it's okay. It's kind of cool. But something like this shadow I think was interesting. But something that is neat. Oh my gosh, I can't go any of the colors. Oh, I still can't. Perfect. You can recolor these lights though, like this. See? So you color the lights. What you could do is you could place multiple lights near each other, and they'll have like an overlapping sort of color effect. So if I were to move this guy kind of over here, like that, and then I make him, the colors are somewhere around here. I might not be able to know exactly what they are. Purple. Let's make him red. Let's make him blue. And so you see where they meet in the middle, you get this sort of purple. Or it looks pinkish or something. So that's fun. Also, you can turn lights off if you want to, like that. And also, lights affect room's beauty. I don't know if it would be reflected here. That's what's ugly, by the way. You can see that this is very ugly. See, ugly. Is this ugly? No, it's not. Just this is sort of making things ugly nearby it, or near it. But if I turn this on, does it affect the beauty? I can't remember. It looks like it does. See, it looks like it did slightly affect the beauty. See? That's interesting. Because lights make a room slightly more beautiful, or maybe the absence makes them ugly. But either way, because the lights are turned on, And we're disabling the lighting during the overlays because we're using the colors. Yay, lights. All right, moving on. We did something with the tutorial. So what we did is we've completely revamped the tutorial so that it's more in line with what we want for launch. It's kind of hard to show here, and I don't want to necessarily spoil anything, but we've redone the tutorial, redone the world building, provided reasons for all these various things. I don't really want to cover the basic story just because I don't know, maybe there's someone who doesn't want any spoils. I don't know if it's exciting enough to like be spoilable, but maybe there's someone out there who just sort of wants to experience it for the first time. And then our philosophy with tutorials is that like the best tutorial is no tutorial, and the game itself should be understandable enough where no tutorial is needed. But that is a very lofty goal, and sometimes it's not practical. It's very hard. Sometimes it's not even possible. So we're still pragmatic. So if the game isn't understandable, we do add these things to hopefully sort of guide the player. Like, what am I supposed to be doing next? A little bit, because we want the game itself to be fun. But we always try our best, because when you drop back in the game, you could play the game, maybe play on launch day. You're like, oh, this is kind of cool, but I'm going to check it out later because, we're going to keep adding new stuff. And so you see what it is now. You're like, this is pretty fun, but I'll just pick it up, a few months from now, and maybe they'll add new stuff, whatever. Okay. So then you come back, you drop back in, and hopefully you can pick up where we left off. Because if the game is so confusing that you need the tutorial to understand how to do basic things in the game, the tutorial hasn't solved anything. All it's solved for is for your first playthrough, and if you ever bother to even do the tutorial again, right? So we're trying to make it sort of understandable, a sort of thing where things are visual, where it makes sense, where you can sort of discover on your own. But again, sometimes that's difficult. So let's see what else do we do. Oh yeah, we added an overlay. We added a UI for colonists, if I can, or monsters rather. What is this? The lighting is just doing cheater, spawn visitor. So if you click on a monster now, we have this new little UI. So see, damaged by this. He's friendly. He's damaged by melee and warping. Doesn't reproduce. What does he drop on death? Just poopy. And then if you charge him, this is what they drop. So this is sort of fun. I think we slightly improved this UI as well. We do these little things. Oh, here's a big one. Colonists will no longer be blocked by a colonist who... So previously, if a colonist can't walk through other colonists, and so if you had a colonist stuck doing something somewhere, there could be a person behind them just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for hours. So now what happens is the colonist who's waiting, they will attempt an alternate route if they've been waiting for too long. And colonists won't even attempt a path, if it would put them being blocked by another colonist. So these are just some back-end things that we've done. And I think that's about it for the new stuff. I mean, so again, we have the context menu, which is new. We have the filters, which are all new. We have the lighting system itself, which is new. And then we have the new tutorial. Oh, also the starting items. So you have starting items. And then a brand new tutorial with objectives that can be hidden. And also there's like a ring animation now when you pick up. Oh yeah, we did this other thing too. Now what we're doing is the longer you're in we're trying this out, but the longer you're in a system, the higher the frequency of enemy spawning is going to be. So if you've been in a system, let's say for an hour, you're going to have more enemies, at least a higher frequency of enemies than you do at the very start. And also when you first warp in, you don't get any enemies. And then every time you warp to a new system, you kind of, you evade the hive. That's what we're calling it. And they don't attack you for a little bit. So we're doing that. And I think that's it. I think that's mostly all of the stuff that we've done. I should have had the patch notes up, but I didn't. Oops. Oh well. So that's it. So I hope that it's exciting. So again, we're coming out August 5th into early access. So tell your friends. That'll be awesome. And that's it. So goodbye.